Nigeria is bleeding. Millions of families have been chased out of their homes by bandits and terrorists. Yet, in the middle of all this suffering, President Tinubu is busy boasting about government revenues. Peter Obi couldn't stay silent. He fired back with a bold message that Nigerians will never forget. Stay with me, because in this video, we break it down. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more breaking news and interesting stories. Nigeria today is in deep pain. The country is going through one of the hardest times in its history, and the suffering of ordinary citizens cannot be hidden. All across the nation, families are being displaced by violence, banditry, and terrorism. Every single day, people leave their homes not because they want to move, but because they are running for their lives. In the northern part of the country, villages that used to be peaceful have turned into war zones. Armed groups raid communities in the middle of the night, burning down houses and forcing families to flee. Parents grab their children and run into the bush, not even knowing where they're going, only hoping that they will survive until morning. The roads that were once filled with farmers carrying goods to market are now silent. Farms have been abandoned, markets have been closed, and entire communities are now empty shadows of what they once were. In the Middle Belt, the story is not different. Villages that used to be full of life now stand deserted. Crops rot in the fields because farmers are too scared to step outside. Mothers cry in silence as they remember children who were kidnapped or killed. Fathers feel helpless as they can no longer protect or provide for their families. The sense of fear is everywhere. Even in some southern parts of the country, kidnappings and attacks have become a regular headline. Nowhere feels truly safe anymore. This is the reality for millions of Nigerians today. Many of them have become displaced persons, forced to live in camps that are overcrowded and lacking the most basic things: food, water, and proper shelter. In these camps, children grow up hungry, tired, and without hope for the future. Some sleep on bare floors. Some go to bed without eating anything. Diseases spread easily in such conditions, and medical care is almost non-existent. But as this painful reality unfolds, the government continues to boast about how much revenue it is collecting. Leaders proudly announce how much money has been made through taxes and oil revenues, as if that alone is proof of progress. Yet the people who are supposed to benefit from this revenue are suffering more than ever before. Instead of using this revenue to make life better, many Nigerians feel they are only being punished further. The government keeps introducing new taxes and increasing the burden on ordinary citizens. From fuel to food, from electricity to transport, almost everything is taxed in one way or another. Businesses complain of over-taxation, saying they can no longer survive because they are squeezed from every angle. Traders who sell in the market feel the weight of multiple levies that eat deep into their little profits. Even ordinary workers feel trapped because their salaries remain the same while the cost of living rises daily, fueled by endless taxes and price increases. This double blow, displacement by insecurity and over-taxation by government policies, has left many Nigerians hopeless. On one side, they fear losing their lives to bandits and terrorists. On the other side, they fear losing their livelihoods to a government that keeps taking from them without giving back. Revenue means nothing to a woman who has lost her home and now begs on the street for food. Revenue means nothing to a farmer who can no longer step into his field because of the fear of being killed. Revenue means nothing to a trader who pays taxes but still cannot afford to feed her family because everything in the market has doubled in price. For many Nigerians, the government seems far away from their struggles. Leaders talk about billions and trillions, but the people see hunger and suffering. While they speak about revenue, the reality in the streets is displacement, insecurity, and poverty. This is why the pain of Nigerians cuts so deep. Because instead of hearing their cries, the government celebrates numbers on paper. Instead of focusing on security, leaders focus on revenue. And instead of making life easier for citizens, new policies only make life harder. Millions of Nigerians today are left asking a simple question: what is the value of government revenue if it does not bring safety, food, shelter, or hope? What is the meaning of progress if people are too scared to sleep in their own homes? The pain of the people is not hidden. It is written in the faces of mothers in displaced persons camps, in the frustration of traders overtaxed by multiple levies, in the silence of empty farmlands, and in the tears of children who go to bed hungry. This is the Nigeria of today, a nation where insecurity and overtaxation have crushed the spirit of the people. And it is this very pain that Peter Obi spoke about. When Peter Obi spoke, he did not try to decorate his words or make them sound soft. He went straight to the point. His tone was clear, firm, and full of conviction. He asked a very simple but powerful question: how can any leader boast of revenues when millions of citizens are displaced, hungry, and unsafe? To him, this was not just a matter of politics. It was a matter of human dignity and leadership. Obi reminded Nigerians that the first duty of any government is to protect its people. If a government fails to do this, then every other achievement becomes meaningless. He argued that government revenue is not an end in itself. Money collected by government, whether through taxes, oil sales, or other sources, is meant to serve the people. It is supposed to provide security, healthcare, education, and infrastructure. But when the government is celebrating the growth of revenue while citizens cannot sleep in their homes, then something is fundamentally wrong. Obi described it as shameful and insensitive. According to him, no true leader should smile about revenue figures while children sleep in displaced persons camps, while farmers cannot go to their fields, and while entire communities live under the fear of death. In his view, it shows that the government is disconnected from the reality of its people. He also pointed out that security is not just another issue on the table, it is the foundation of everything else. A country cannot grow its economy, cannot educate its children, cannot build industries, and cannot attract investment if insecurity is widespread. No investor will put money in a nation where people are kidnapped daily. No farmer will plant crops if he is not sure he will live to harvest them. No trader will thrive in a market where attacks can happen at any moment. This was the heart of Obi's argument: security must come first. Without security, revenue is just a meaningless figure written on paper. Without security, all the money collected by government cannot bring peace or prosperity. He went further to highlight the irony of the government's position. While ordinary Nigerians are being overtaxed and burdened by high costs of living, the leaders at the top are celebrating as if they have achieved something great. For Obi, this is not just wrong, it is unjust. A government that taxes its people heavily but fails to protect them is betraying its core responsibility. Obi's words touched a nerve because he spoke directly to the reality that most Nigerians live every day. He spoke about the farmer in the north who cannot return to his land. He spoke about the trader in the city who pays multiple taxes but cannot afford to restock her shop because her profits are gone. He spoke about the families in displaced persons camps who see their children wasting away without education, food, or medical care. He reminded the government that these people are the true measure of leadership, not figures on a revenue chart. He also emphasized that leadership is not about showing off what has been collected, but about how it is used. If the revenues being celebrated are not reducing poverty, not improving security, not creating jobs, and not giving Nigerians hope, then what is the point? Obi called it empty pride, pride without substance, pride that only mocks the pain of the people. His statement was not just criticism, it was a challenge. A challenge to Tinubu and his administration to stop focusing on statistics and to start focusing on lives. A challenge to shift the conversation from revenue growth to human growth. A challenge to stop counting money while Nigerians are counting their dead. Obi's words also carried a deeper meaning. He was saying that leadership must be human-centered. Numbers and figures may look good in speeches and reports, but they mean nothing if the people do not feel the impact. A government that claims to be successful must be judged by the condition of its citizens, not by the size of its revenue. For many Nigerians listening, Obi's words were like an echo of their hidden frustrations. They have long felt that their suffering is ignored by those in power. They have long felt that government leaders are more interested in celebrating achievements on paper than solving problems on the ground. Obi's direct tone gave voice to what many have been thinking but could not say publicly. What made Obi's knock even more powerful was the fact that he did not speak like a politician trying to score points. He spoke like a concerned citizen who could feel the pain of the people. He reminded everyone that leadership is a moral duty, not just a political office. And when that duty is neglected, the entire nation pays the price. His message was clear: Nigeria cannot move forward by taxing its people into poverty while leaving them unprotected. Progress is not measured by revenue, but by how many citizens are safe, fed, educated, and empowered. Until insecurity is solved, every celebration of revenue is hollow. By striking back in this way, Obi shifted the conversation. Instead of Nigerians debating about revenue figures, they began asking harder questions. What about the lives lost? What about the millions displaced? What about the overtaxed businesses struggling to survive? His words forced the government to confront the uncomfortable truth that money without security is useless. In the end, Obi's attack was not just a criticism of Tinubu, but a reminder to all leaders that the people come first. He stood firm on the belief that leadership without compassion is empty, and governance without security is failure. Peter Obi's words were not only aimed at Tinubu or his government, they were directed at Nigerians themselves. His statement was a reminder, a warning, and a call to action. For Obi, the debate was bigger than revenue figures or political points. It was about the soul of the nation and the future of its people. The heart of his message was simple: leadership is about people, not numbers. A government that celebrates how much money it has collected while its citizens are displaced, hungry, and unsafe has lost touch with its true duty. Obi wanted Nigerians to understand that they must demand more from those who lead them. He stressed that revenue without security is empty. A government can count all the money it wants, but if citizens are afraid to step outside their homes, if traders cannot trade, if farmers cannot farm, then that money is meaningless. Progress cannot be measured by revenue charts. Progress must be measured by how safe and comfortable the people feel in their daily lives. Obi's words also served as a reminder that insecurity and overtaxation are destroying the foundation of the country. When millions are displaced, when businesses are strangled by multiple taxes, and when families cannot even afford basic food, then the nation is walking on broken ground. The people are the base of the nation, and when that base is weakened, the entire system shakes. His message to Nigerians was that they should not be deceived by government announcements. It is easy for leaders to stand on podiums and speak about billions and trillions, but the true test of leadership is not in speeches. It is in results. If revenue is growing but poverty is also growing, then something is wrong. If taxes are rising but security is collapsing, then the government has failed its duty. Obi wanted Nigerians to see clearly that the value of government lies in its ability to protect lives, not just collect money. He reminded them that leadership is about service. Leaders are elected to make the people's lives better, not to punish them with endless taxes while leaving them to die in insecurity. His knock on Tinubu was a way of shining a light on this truth. Another key part of Obi's message was about priorities. He argued that the government's priorities are misplaced. Instead of focusing on rescuing displaced families, rebuilding destroyed communities, and creating security for farmers and traders, the leaders are focused on revenue statistics. Instead of reducing the burden on citizens, they are adding more weight through taxation and policy changes that make survival harder. Obi's words forced Nigerians to ask, what exactly are the priorities of those in power? He also made it clear that leadership without compassion cannot succeed. A government that ignores the cries of its people is a government without direction. He told Nigerians that they must never accept leaders who value money over lives. The safety, dignity, and well-being of citizens must always come first. If leaders cannot provide these, then their achievements mean nothing. Obi's message was not only critical but also motivational. He wanted Nigerians to wake up and demand accountability. He wanted them to understand that their voices matter and that they have the right to question their leaders. He reminded them that silence in the face of suffering only strengthens bad leadership. By speaking up, by demanding security, and by rejecting policies that harm them, Nigerians can push their leaders to act responsibly. For many Nigerians, his words came as a form of comfort. They felt seen and heard. At a time when their struggles seemed invisible to those in power, Obi's voice echoed their pain and frustration. He put into words the things many had been whispering in their homes and communities. He told them that their suffering is real and that it should not be ignored or brushed aside. But beyond comfort, his words also came as a challenge. Nigerians must not only complain, they must hold leaders accountable. They must begin to ask harder questions. Where is the money being used? Why are taxes increasing while insecurity gets worse? Why do leaders celebrate revenues while ordinary citizens cannot afford food, rent, or school fees? These are the questions Obi wanted every Nigerian to keep asking. He also warned that if Nigerians allow themselves to be deceived by numbers, then nothing will change. Leaders will continue to boast about revenues while people die in silence. He told them to open their eyes and see reality for what it is. Security first, dignity first, people first, these must always come before any celebration of revenue. His message was also a lesson in what true governance should look like. A good government is one that puts citizens at the center of every decision. A good government ensures that no child goes to bed hungry, no family is left homeless, and no community lives in fear of death. A good government collects revenue, yes, but it spends that revenue in a way that improves lives. Without this, governance becomes nothing more than a game of numbers. For Obi, the future of Nigeria depends on leaders who understand these truths and citizens who demand them. If Nigerians continue to accept insecurity, over-taxation, and misplaced priorities, then the cycle of suffering will continue. But if they rise, speak, and hold their leaders to account, then change is possible. His knock on Tinubu was not just about one man or one government. It was about the entire culture of leadership in Nigeria. It was a call for a new way, a way where leaders put people first and stop hiding behind statistics. It was a message that every Nigerian must carry forward: life is more valuable than revenue, and a government that cannot protect lives has already failed.